have been injured. That's a new update from the health ministry here in Israel. 3,000 people have been injured, many of them treated in hospital. Hamas fighters captured more than 100 hostages, including women, children, and elderly people who were taken into Gaza as captives. We're still unclear with regards to the exact number of people who are in captivity. It could be 130 or up to 200. Honestly, we don't know. The numbers are still unclear. Overnight, Israel continued to shell Hamas targets in Gaza, and according to Palestinian reports, it has killed the brother of Mohammed Deif, head of the military command of Hamas. He was targeted while staying at his father's home. Deif's brother's son and granddaughter have also been killed. Fighting continues in the outskirts of the Gaza Strip, with the IDF killing 2 more terrorists who tried to cross into Israel through the Erez crossing. Hamas naval targets were also destroyed by the Israeli Navy. A diver who tried to cross into Israel was also killed by IDF forces. In the northern front, overnight, Israel retaliated with shelling into Syrian territory. After a few mortar shells were fired into Israel from Syria, no injuries were recorded. Meanwhile, the U.S. aircraft carrier has arrived to the shores of Israel, and the first cargo plane carrying a shipment of ammunition has landed in Israel from the U.S. President Biden Tuesday night reiterated once more that America will help Israel protect itself from any regional threat.
This was an act of sheer evil. More than 1,000 civilians slaughtered, not just killed, slaughtered in Israel. Among them, at least 14 American citizens killed. Parents butchered, using their bodies to try to protect their children. Stomach-turning reports of babies being killed. Entire families slain. Young people massacred while attending a musical festival to celebrate peace. Women raped, assaulted, paraded as trophies. Families hid their fear for hours and hours, desperately trying to keep their children quiet to avoid drawing attention. And thousands of wounded, alive but carrying with them the bullet holes and the shrapnel wounds and the memory of what they endured. The Department of Defense has moved the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group to the Eastern Mediterranean and bolstered our fighter aircraft presence. And we stand ready to move in additional assets as needed. Let me say again, to any country, any organization, anyone thinking of taking advantage of this situation, I have one word: don't. Don't. Our hearts may be broken, but our resolve is clear.
And Hamda Salhout is in Sderot with the latest on this barrage of rockets. We can see the smoke behind you, practically. Hamda, tell us about the recent developments in the city.
Ariel, good morning. Around 9 direct hits inside the city of Sderot. The medical authorities are saying at least one person is moderately injured by shrapnel that fell. Behind me here, I want to show you, is the police station in Sderot, where there was a standoff between Hamas and Israeli police. Around 10 police officers were killed here, and the Israeli military, in order to regain control of the area, created a controlled explosion inside the police station to kill all of Hamas that was still inside. And as we speak, behind me, medical authorities are transporting the bodies of 3 people that were found inside of the police station. They're trying to demolish this building here because of the situation that had happened. After that explosion, this area was completely blocked off. There are barely any locals here. They have been advised to stay inside and shelter, but the army is saying that they have regained control of this city, and part of regaining control was destroying the police station and now cleaning up the debris and the aftermath of it. It's a little bit hard to see because of the smoke, but there are also cars that are in this debris that were part of that explosion. This was a standoff here that lasted all night for hours. The Israeli army finally regaining control just a couple of days ago of the police station, but the cleanup here continues as this war treads on.
Hamda, thank you very much for this update. Of course, we'll be with you in the next few minutes again. Take some time there to gather some more news for us. We now want to turn to Colonel in Reserves Grisha Yakubovich, former head of the civilian department of Kogat, the IDF and Israeli-Palestinian relations expert, and Irina Nevsly, the chair of the Nadav Foundation. They both join me now here in studio. Thank you very much for coming in. We'll start with you, Grisha. First of all, let's talk about the Israeli strategy with regards to the strikes in Gaza. We're seeing more terrorists trying to cross into Israel. Israel is constantly shelling in Gaza, killing overnight relatives of Mohammed Dif. Where is this heading, considering the fact, and how limited is Israel in its operations, considering the fact that there is an unaccounted for number of hostages held by Hamas, but we know that that number is greater than 100?
First of all, the number is probably getting closer to 200, maybe a little bit more than that. It's a disaster, of course, and I'm sure that the state of Israel will do whatever is needed to make sure that the people that were kidnapped will be brought back home safely. In parallel, Israel changed the IDF actually got their orders, and the line is being stabilized by many IDF forces in the south, in the north also, with preparation to a possible wave that will come from Lebanon or even Syria. From what I understand, Iran gave already orders, so many Iranian proxies are moving to the area of the Golan Heights, Quneitra. Is that a move? Is that a statement towards the U.S. fleet? Probably, but it can develop. In Israel, the IDF changed the mood from defense to attack. So what we see at the last 3 days is huge force, bombs falling in Gaza, neighborhoods that are destroyed. It's not because of the fact that it's a neighborhood. It's wherever Hamas have a headquarters or something that is related to this attack, Israel is not destroying, Israel deleting. So we can see a certain belt that the Air Force is dealing with. If you have the map of Gaza, so you can see in the north it's Bet Lahia, Bet Hanun, and in the south it's Sajaiya and then Purkan. So actually all the neighborhoods that are close to the green line, to the fence, are neighborhoods that the IDF is attacking to make sure that no Hamas remains are there. No headquarters, no forces, no nothing. Hamas continues and will continue try and export terror attacks by drones, by terrorists, and this is the most important mission now, to make sure that no terrorists that their mission is to hide will be able to attack or to stab us in the back.
Okay. You mentioned the northern front, Irina. Before we turn to you, I want to turn to our correspondent in the northern border, Ariel Oseran, for the latest updates from there. Ariel.
Right, Ariel. So here we're on the Israel-Lebanon border. We're not going to disclose exactly where we are, but as you can see, heightened security. In order to get here from Nahariya, the biggest city in Israel's Western Galilee, we had to go through multiple checkpoints, increased security presence along the routes, and this is obviously in preparation for potential escalation here up north, but obviously it's a clear and immediate conclusion following the events that took place on Saturday morning and the communities, the border communities surrounding the Gaza Strip. And so throughout these past few days, thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of soldiers spread out across the border in different outposts, but also on the routes and in the entrances to the different communities because of the very high level of alert also because of what happened down south and the fear that Hezbollah may take advantage of the situation and join the fighting, but also given the developments on the ground over the past few days with sporadic exchanges of fire between Israel, Hezbollah, Israel, and different Palestinian militants. And this comes amid a tense quiet that is taking place all across northern Israel this morning.
Okay, I understand, Ariel, that you've been speaking to people there. Can we take a listen?
At the moment, I don't intend to leave Nahariya. I trust that everything will be fine. If they tell us to go into shelters, then I will do it. We will follow the instructions of the army. We have faith in the IDF. Although, again, what happened is shocking. It was a mishap.
Ariel, the aircraft carrier that the United States has brought to the eastern Mediterranean off the coast of Israel is signaling a direct message to Syria, to Lebanon, to proxies of Iran in these places. What are we hearing from Lebanese media, Syrian media this morning?
Well, obviously, they're trying to downplay this American threat to the regional axis. Obviously, we're talking about the Shiite axis that includes Hezbollah, that includes Iran, that also includes Hamas. And as in recent months, leaders of those groups have been meeting together. It is also believed that this included perhaps strategizing for what took place on Saturday morning. But as for this American presence, it's not only, it shows that there's not only supportive rhetoric coming out from the Biden administration with the very powerful speech yesterday that left a lot of Israelis very emotional, feeling that the U.S. president showed not only close what friendship with Israel is, but really took in what happened here and in a very emotional way, but also with these steps on the ground or at sea with sending the U.S. Navy's largest aircraft carrier in addition to additional warships. Obviously, there's also been reporting last night of perhaps a potential second aircraft carrier to be sent here. That is probably pending the different developments on the ground, but indeed, at least the players on the other side, if we're talking about Hezbollah, Iran, Syria, definitely not liking this American military presence in the region.
Okay, Ariel Saran, thank you very much. More than 1,200 people have died so far, have been murdered, killed, slaughtered by Hamas since fighting began on Saturday. More than 3,000 injured. I'm now joined in the studio by Irina Nevzlin. She's the chair of the Nadav Foundation. And I should mention also the wife of Yuli Edelstein, one of the most senior people of the Likud party, the governing party in Israel at the moment. Why was it important for you to come and speak to our viewers abroad about what's happening in Israel in the last 5 days?
First of all, because I believe all of us here on the ground, and I'm not saying in any way that I'm on the ground in the way that families in the South or army is, but I believe it's very important to get across the message of what's really happening here. We're all involved in trying to make it a little bit better, but it's a slaughter. I want to make sure people understand that it's no mistake. It's not a fight between two people. It's a fight between good and evil. No human brain of average person can comprehend burning of infants alive and pictures of raped women and older women taken hostages. This reminds us way too much to the Jewish people, the pictures of the Holocaust. We were never aggressive as people. We always had to protect ourselves. We never had an aggression in our blood. It doesn't mean we are not strong. It doesn't mean that terrorist organizations such as Hamas and Hezbollah shouldn't be deleted from the face of the earth. I'm proud of my people. That's why I'm here. I'm proud of what's happening on the streets of Israel, of the solidarity, of the ability to put everything aside and to help anyone and anyone. And I'm here to say that we will prevail, we will be strong. It's the most tragic event in our history from the Holocaust, but we've always prevailed. And I have such a big trust in our country and especially our people.
But you know, Irina, perhaps you can help me answer questions that we're getting from viewers abroad. And we're seeing some protest movements also in support of Hamas. And those who do not support Hamas and understand the distinguishing between Hamas and the Palestinian people still support the Palestinian people in Gaza. There are civilians there as well. And according to reports from the Gazan Health Ministry, 900 people have been killed in Gaza as well, including 140 children. What is the responsibility of Israel in its bombardment of Gaza currently towards that civilian population? What makes us better than Hamas if we kill so many innocent people on the other side?
I just want to make sure we understand each other very well. We haven't started this war. We are now, what we are doing is we are protecting and trying to bring back our people. We never asked and we never tried to bomb the Palestinian population until we were attacked. So our job now is completely, and I'm really hoping that as less civilians as possible die anywhere, but our task now is to bring our people, our children, and our women back as safe as possible.
Another word from you about, I'd like to hear your comment, please, about what we're hearing from Russia, or what we are not hearing from Russia. Russian President Putin has not called Prime Minister Netanyahu since this campaign began 5 days ago. And his remarks have been, to say the least, outrageous to many Israelis. And I'm quoting, he's blaming the United States in the war and says, Israel has turned Gaza to a concentration camp. A short remark.
Look, I think that expecting from human being like Putin to be a human being is a bit, at this stage, ironic. Animals are animals. What we are getting is evil, like it used to be. What we're getting also, you need to understand something that I know as a Russian speaker, is the level of anti-Semitism in Russia and in Russian language raised so dramatically. Not that it was ever low, but currently the anti-Israeli and anti-Jewish statements are very legitimate. So the expectations from him are, there shouldn't be any expectations.
Okay, thank you. Irina Nevsly, Grisha, we'll be with you shortly. We do want to turn to IDF spokesman Daniel Hagari is speaking at this moment, and we would like to give you an opportunity to listen to what he says. I will, of course, do the translation work. Can we hear him? We have located 1,000 bodies of terrorists, and we imagine and suspect that we will find many more. This is the scale of the attack on Israel, and this testifies on the sort of fighting that we've seen in the premises of Gaza. They were intending to conquer the land of Israel. In our counterattack, we managed to chase them back into Gaza, and that is except a few terrorists that have been hiding in Israel, and those are the ones that we are chasing now. Tens of thousands of Israeli warriors, special units are there. 18 different terrorists have been killed by IDF soldiers in the last 24 hours.
זירת המלחמה. כמו שאמרתי, אנחנו פועלים גם בצפון, בלבנון, בגבול הלבנון.
Updates with regards to the war zone. We're operating both in the center of the country and in the north.
סמוך לגבול.
Next to the border with Lebanon, there isn't one town or city that hasn't seen the presence of our soldiers and troops.
בעזה, והוא רואה את עוצמת החורבן ומה שישראל עושה במכה שלה לטרור.
People in Syria, in Hezbollah, can see what Israel is doing to Gaza
ולבנון, בכל מקום שיש
in the northern border, wherever there is an incident,
האירוע האחרון
a shooting of shells into Israel,
22 ו-30 בגבול
like the shells that were fired into Israel from Syria.
שירתה מרגמות
We are
וארטילריה חזקה.
shooting back and retaliating into Syrian territory, and we will continue to do so whenever there is an attack coming from Syria or from Lebanon. Since then, since 10:30 last night, there hasn't been any incidents up north. In the West Bank, all of
משטרת ישראל,
our forces are in preparedness there.
כללי והכבאות וההצלה, כולם עושים עבודה חשובה, כתף אל כתף עם צה"ל.
All units are working and operating together with the IDF, be it the firefighters, the police, Magen David Adon emergency services,
ביטחון, אנחנו מתגברים
together with the
כלל כיתות
police and Ministry of Homeland Security. We are handing more weapons to the security units of the towns and kibbutzes and villages across the northern border and in the south.
שומרון, כדי למנוע הפרות סדר,
In
פיגועים,
the West Bank, the IDF is doing everything possible in order to prevent an escalation.
הודעות
As of this morning, we've given notices
של 169
to 169
עד עכשיו,
families of soldiers that have been
את המשפחות מלווים
receiving the terrible news, and we're accompanying them in this difficult time.
את הפצועים,
We send our best wishes for speedy recovery to all of the soldiers who are at hospital and are being treated by doctors there and staff.
60 חטופים.
We've also informed 60 families of abducted Israelis that have been taken into Gaza. We hug them.
שלהביא אמינות בדיווח לבין הרצון להיות מהירים ולתת תשובות.
We're trying to strike a balance between being responsible towards reliable reporting of the number of people who have been abducted and their names.
אנחנו רואים בזה ראשונה במעלה.
And this is our first mission, and we're trying to bring all the information as quickly and as accurately as possible.
שעה 9 בבוקר,
Starting 9 a.m. today, we've opened a new call center
באשר לך
at the IDF with regards to the abducted.
9, אני חוזר, 1, 2,
The phone number for this call center is 1229.
דבר,
That's the number for people to call, whether they have testimonies and can give some information, and whether it is family members.
מילואים, יחד עם ניצן אלון, האלוף במילואים, שני
Nitzan Alon and Lior Carmeli will lead this effort, both of them retired generals in the army.
סוגיית החטופים. מוקד זה מצטרף למוקדים הנוספים אותם הזכרתי בעבר. כל המוקדים האלה מפורסמים באתר צה"ל. אפשר להיכנס לאתר.
This call center is one of many that we have established, and we will give
מבחינת פיקוד העורף,
our best assistance in these call centers.
אני רוצה
As
להתחיל
far as people
טובה מאוד.
in other parts of the country,
אני רוצה להדגיש שההגנה היא אף
Israel is protecting itself,
במיוחד שהמלחמה היא
but it's never 100%. Israel's protecting itself from missiles from the air and rockets.
חזקות.
But even if there are no alarms sounding, we're asking the public to listen to our instructions and follow them.
של נשיא ארצות הברית,
Following up on
מתקדמת,
the speech by U.S. President Biden,
מאוד לצה"ל,
a plane landed here in Israel last night with ammunition
עסק בזה יחד עם צה"ל.
that was supplied by the United States, and we will continue to advance these efforts throughout the war.
בקשר רציף עם יושב ראש
The chief of staff of the IDF
פיקוד המרכז האמריקאי, מפקד
is in touch with the
ווילה.
American military.
בשטח. גם היום הוא יימצא בשטח, הוא כל יום נמצא
The
בשטח.
chief of staff of the IDF is on the ground constantly,
להשאיר תוכניות,
every day,
לקיים פה
and
מכירים
approves the
מצב עם כל פורום מטכ"ל. על
plans and programs going ahead in this war.
אנחנו קשובים לציבור ולאנשי המילואים.
We are listening to the public and currently trying to understand from people who have been drafted into reserves what is currently missing.
בסוגיית הציוד,
We know that some equipment is missing. We're seeing your queries and we're getting better with regards to that.
איך לחלק את הציוד למשפחות.
We're delivering the equipment according to a preferential order to different units.
ובהתקפיות, מגבירים את התקיפה.
We're acting with determination and in an attack mindset.
ודובר צה"ל,
The IDF will continue to update you
ביום,
twice a day, and if we need to do it more often than that, we will.
את כהווייתה,
We will give you the exact
לחימה, אי-ודאות,
portrayal of
תמונה.
things on the ground, whether this is very tough or not. But we will ensure that these details that we provide are accurate. He's taking some questions now. Let's try and listen in.
אז קודם כל אני מבקש לפנות למוקד החדש שאנחנו
First, I think the question is about the abducted.
מאמצים שונים. האחד,
As I was saying, there are
אנשי מילואים
two different
למשפחות חטופים.
lines of vectors of operation at the moment with regards to that.
משפחה כזאת נמסרים בשורות.
One is with
הדבר הזה
Leo Carmeli, former general.
זו המלחמה בעוטף.
תשמע, יואב, זאת נקודה מעניינת, השאלה הזו.
Okay, this is already channel 12. Thank you to I'm still hearing channel 12 in my ear, so thank you very much now for taking it off. And now I do want to turn to Elad Levi. He's the uncle of a missing soldier, Roni Eshel. She's missing from Nachal Oz base since Saturday, I understand. Thank you very much, Elad, for taking the time and having the strength to speak to us in these days. Tell us, when was the last time you heard from Roni?
The family, the last communication we had with Roni was on Saturday morning. It was at around 9:30 a.m. So as you know, the attack started at around 6:30. At around 9:30 a.m., she sent a text message to her mother. It was very short and plain. Hi, Mom, I'm okay. I'm busy. I love you. That's it. That was the last communication.
Tell me about your communication since with the IDF. We just heard the IDF spokesperson saying that they are trying to do a better job at speaking with some of the families of the abducted and the missing. What have you been hearing from Israeli authorities?
We haven't heard, and I'm speaking, look, the parents are obviously the first line of communication and they get all the information, but we're there. We build, call it a command post in their house in terms of information and how we manage everything. We didn't hear any official or formal response. Nobody actually visited the family. As far as we're concerned, there was no communication. But, we're not, the parents and us, we're not going to sit still. So, and it's also the others. So Roni was not alone. She was with 20 other girls, and most of them, are still missing. And so we are gathering information collectively. We're chasing a lot of, pieces of information, trying to get a picture, but it's very difficult.
Tell me about what you are managing to understand about what happened. You're saying she was with a group of 20 girls. By the way, what was her position? What was she doing in Nachal Oz? And what have you managed to learn about those hours of the attack?
Sure. Whatever I'm going to tell you now, it is not officially and formally confirmed. And this is, I would say, again, to the best of our knowledge collectively. It's pieces of information. So Roni was in the communication center. She was actually in active. The girls, not all the girls stayed at the same place. She was at the CP, at the communication center of the base, with another, I think, 5 or 6 other girls like her, and another Golani soldier. What we know that the Hamas terrorists tried to get into the command center, but they couldn't. It was locked in. It was a secure room. So eventually they burnt it. There were people alive there, female soldiers, and they burnt it. The smoke, and again, this is against, it's here saying that it's a lot of information that we're getting pieces. So I'm trying to be careful because it's not an easy picture. The smoke started to get in, and the Golani guy, the only soldier, started to evacuate the soldiers, the female soldiers, one by one. He doesn't remember, he was saved, and 2 others, but the others, we don't know we don't know anything about them since that point.
And since you're trying to gather this information by yourself, tell me about how you're working with other families. I know that there is a headquarters that was established by some of the families of the kidnapped and the missing. How are you sharing information with each other?
So I think, they basically established a group, a WhatsApp group. This is the most common of communication these days, of the parents. And they are just talking to each other. Now you have to understand, it's like 20 branches of, different branches. So we are in our branch, I can tell what we do. I'm reaching out to people that I know from my ex-military service, people that, might be somewhere, know somewhere. We have another, cousin, she's reaching out to all kinds of, her friends. We have someone who's reaching to all the hospitals and taking care of all the hospitals. And then every piece of information that we get, all of us are just going out and checking in. We have one distant cousin who's looking for all the videos because we're not, even though I think that we've seen them all, that every video that we hear is going to look out. And I'm sure it's the same thing for the other, 15, 20 families. But we're trying, and then we're trying to comprehend, and we're sharing information.
Now, before we part, we are an English-speaking channel, and there are people viewing this in Europe, in the United States, in Arab countries as well, in the Gulf. Anything that you would like to say to them, to people and to politicians, to people who might have some leverage over Hamas in Gaza?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think on a personal level, look, Ronnie's parents, they don't know the whereabouts and well-being of Ronnie. They are devastated. We can't breathe. Really can't breathe these days. I'd say on a more, bigger picture, Ronnie is one, and there are 1,500 like us, 1,500 other families. But that's not the whole story. Because the story there, that what happened on Saturday was a genocide. I know it's a very extreme word, but it was a genocide. Anybody who's seen what they've done there and how they've done it would notice immediately. The Hamas terrorists came in with one purpose and one purpose only: to kill, actually not to kill, to slaughter Jews. There are little children with their beheaded. Families got burned in their homes. The party, the festival, the music festival, we all heard, they rounded them up and they just slaughtered them. Now, I don't know if people know all the details. They slaughtered them so bad that a lot of the youngers there, they cannot be recognized. So what we've seen here is, crime against humanity on a level that we haven't seen. Hamas is not a Palestinian organization. It's a terror organization. It's ISIS. It's the brutality that we've seen from the Nazis. And people need to understand what happened on Saturday is a tipping point. It's a paradigm shift. What was, this kind of like, I would say, small and battles and clashes, it's over. This will end the same way the Second World War ended. Unconditional surrender or else. And people